Welcome to the Urban Uplander Podcast. This collaborative series, created by Urban Uplander Pet Care LLC, was designed to facilitate continual learning. Join your host, Melinda Benbow, and her special guests weekly to learn all things about pet care, dog sports, bird dog training, and so much more.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Urban Uplander Podcast. I'm your host, Melinda Benbow, and today I have my specialist of guests back in the studio with me, my husband, the co-owner and operator of Urban Uplander Pet Care, and just a wonderful dog dad in the studio, Kyle Benbow. Thanks for joining us.
Sorry about that. I forgot to unmute. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be on here. We've gotten pretty good at this, so I'm excited about this episode in particular.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for joining. And today's episode is a wonderful topic. We are discussing today general guidelines and policies for pet care businesses. As a pet care company with an umbrella of different services, it is very important that we have defined guidelines and policies for ourselves and for our clients. So if you are one of our clients, definitely listen along to this episode so you can hear more about these guidelines, why these guidelines are in place, and examples of these situations. And if you are looking to build a pet care company yourself or have already got one started and you want to know some general things to ensure you have on your guidelines and policies, this will be a wonderful episode for you to stick to and listen all the way through. So again, guidelines and policies are a wonderful way to understand what your expectations are of your clients and what your clients can expect out of you as a pet care professional. These things that you could list on there could be from the times that you provide services, how to request care, things that have to be filled out beforehand, how you communicate with your clients, and so much more. So in this episode, we're going to go through it and give you a breakdown of what each of our general guidelines and policies are, and just kind of show you what we require from our clients and what we have as our responsibilities as pet care providers. So number one thing that we have on our personal guidelines and policies is times of service. We follow a pretty general schedule in our day to ensure that we can cover all the services in a timely manner. So the way our time is spent in a day is between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. we are conducting morning visits. These morning visits are where we go feed dogs breakfast for our vacation clients, let them out to potty after a night by themselves. And we're also just in general feeding the dogs that are at our home, whether it's our personal dogs or the boarding dogs. So that is between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. Between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m., we are picking up boarding dogs and socialization day dogs. Socialization day for us is the same thing as daycare, just designed a little different. So we're doing that between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. Between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m., we are providing our midday dog walks, and we are going back for those same vacation clients to ensure that they can get out for walks and have some runaround time outside to break up that day. Between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m., we are dropping off the socialization day dogs and the boarding drop-off dogs. After we're done doing that, between about 6 p.m. and 9 p.m., we are going back to vacation care clients, getting them fed, getting them out to potty, and we're also dropping off those midday we've already dropped off those dogs. We are just getting those vacation care clients nice and fed and then heading home to take care of the boarding dogs and our personal dogs. So again, we break our day up into these different kind of time pockets to ensure that we can get done the proper amount of care and the proper amount of time for every client that we have on our schedule. Other than that, it really ensures that we can stick to this schedule and make sure that not only are we coming for these visits, but they are quality visits at the end of the day. So you probably do hear that some of these times do overlap. That is because not every day looks the same. Some days we have vacation care clients, some days we don't. Some days we have midday visits, some days we don't. It's just a matter of scheduling our day to plan for if we have just the busiest day possible. Other than that, we have on our guidelines and policies how to request services from us. We prefer that our clients request their services through our business phone number via text. This phone number is 317-676-6986. We prefer our messages to our requests to go through this message line because number one, I get to see it, Kyle gets to see it, and our employee Emmett gets to see it. So you can ensure that everyone that is part of this company has eyes on your request. If we have emails, messages from Facebook and Instagram or any other place that you could get a hold of us, it sends your messages and your requests to too many different places. We want to make sure that we have everything in one spot. So not only are we making sure we are actually seeing these requests coming in, but we can also go back and refer to past requests if we need to. So please request through our text line. We also require that all of our clients have up-to-date client information forms filled out before services start. We send these out before consultation. These are the forms that allow us to get to know how to care for your dogs, where everything is located in your house. And these are the sheets that we refer to when we go to your care or when your pets come here. We do have clients that like to leave notes and other, Post-its throughout the house when it comes to caring for their pets. But ensuring that you update this form is how you can make sure that we have 100% up-to-date information to refer from. Sometimes you forget to leave notes, or sometimes maybe the pets get a hold of these things and they get destroyed. Filling out this information through the link that we send to our clients is going to, once again, make sure we have all the information we need to successfully and quality provide care for your pets while you're away. Now, Kyle, we did cover time of services, how to request services, and the required forms that go along with that. Is there anything you want to add to our to these things for our clients and for somebody who may be making guidelines and policies?
Yes, I can talk a little bit more about these. So the idea behind all our guidelines and policies is for efficacy and efficiency on our end. And as you talked about with the scheduling and the communication and the paperwork, this kind of helps us on our day-to-day. I think many people sometimes still get the misperception that we're still just a small company, that we see about 4 to 5 people, and that's just what it is that we do. But we service anywhere between 50 and 100 clients almost every week. We have about 30 regulars who come through us weekly, and then we have another about 30 to 60 who hit us up at least once a month. So this is a very much a lot of information for us to take in and to have. And when you're talking about people with 2 or 3 pets or revolving information about their pets, we need to do our best on our end to ensure that we have this information in one place. So as you say, we have a daily schedule. That schedules allow for you to be able to do the aspects of your job and do them in the correct manner. And sticking to that schedule is what ensures that not only that you get to these pets and you give them the required time necessary for the services that they're looking for, but also that you have enough time to do the other aspects of your job that you need to do. Having the singular phone number, as you kind of talked about, runs through an app that allows all of the employees at Urban Uplander, which right now is 3, allow us all to see these messages. And that's the great thing about the app. And once you have Louis Torres on from Pepper to kind of talk about it, he'll go into detail about the conveniences of this app. But the one big one is that we all see the messages from the client and the communication from the client. And that's from start to end. So, when you do request something, when we're getting 20, 30 to 40 requests at any given time or any given week, sometimes it's easy for those to kind of fall through the cracks. And sometimes it's easy for those to be missed if just one person looks at it. And if they're on Instagram and on Facebook and some of them are in email, it gets even easier. So having it come through this one line makes sure that someone in our business is going to see this and the communication will go and we'll be able to contact you and get you on the calendar. The required paperwork is also kind of part of our app as well, because that paperwork is tied directly to your communication information. So not only do we have all your text messages just in case you do deliver important information. But having these links and having these forms being filled out allows all of our pet sitters to see everything that's going on with the client. So if, say, the pup, has a new medication or the alarm changed or whatever that may need to be known, having this paperwork fills out allows us all to see it. So really, just from the top three, it's just letting everyone know we want you all to be uniform because it helps us do our jobs for you. It's kind of like the help us help you old saying that, if you text through one area, we can contact you. If you understand our schedule, then you understand how we work and how we operate better. If you fill out your paperwork, then we have all the information that we'll need to take care of your pets to the best of our ability. So that's kind of what our entire general guidelines are about, but the first three definitely want to harp on those points.
Perfect. Yes, well said. So with that, we also want to touch on how we provide our updates. Pepper is going to be a running theme in some more episodes and through these guidelines and policies. As Kyle mentioned, it is an app that we use to automate our business. It's nothing that our clients have to download or anything like that, but it also lets us provide updates to our clients. So when we are taking care of our furry friends throughout the day, we prioritize 2 updates per day. That looks like a text around 2 o'clock. Once the midday visits are completed, we send out just a general message saying, hey, everyone's doing great. The day is wonderful. And we will be doing the evening visits later and dropping off dogs. And you should see your email update between about 3 and 6 p.m. Which brings us to our second update, the email update. We send out around anywhere between 3 and 6 p.m. It's going to have another breakdown of how the day is going. It's also going to have pictures of the client dog and all the other pets and animals that we take care of in a day. This is a wonderful way for us to, once again, automate how we update our clients so we don't have to take a moment to try to send out a singular update to every client throughout the day, as that can be very time consuming. And like Kyle said, we do have a good amount of clients that we see in a day and a week, and that can take up a big portion of our day trying to create an update for every single client. So you will have that email update, and you get to not only see what your pet's doing, but see what all the other furry friends that we take care of in a day are doing. So we really do like the update, and we've had some wonderful feedback on that. So that is how we conduct our updates. Other than that, if there is an emergency, we are going to contact you immediately and directly. You're not going to have to wait for an update, a text or an email to know something is wrong with your dog. Fortunately, emergency situations don't tend to happen too often, so we're going to keep that theme going, but do know if you are a client, you will be notified immediately, and we will make a plan of action together. But it is the 2 standard updates. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram to view our posts, which we tend to post more on our story. You can see more of what goes on in a day by clicking the logo on both those areas of Facebook and Instagram. And that's what's going to pop up a story feed where you can see more photos. So the next thing that we have on our guidelines and policies is communication, how we do this. Urban Uplander, like Kyle mentioned, we service between 50 and 70 clients every week. And for that reason, it can be hard to reach out to everyone personally. We've already mentioned that all of our updates will be through email and text when it comes to letting you know how your pets are doing. And again, we're not going to hesitate to call you directly in an emergency situation, which does mean for our clients, if you are seeing our number ring on your phone, you may want to go ahead and pick up, as there's something that we probably need in that moment. We do use the Pepper app, as we mentioned, and we will have a future post podcast with the creator of the Pepper app from Unleashed Consulting, Louis Torres, on the show to give a better in-depth breakdown of what this communication app is and why it's so important for businesses like ours. We do ask, when it comes to communication, that our clients contact us during typical business hours. This would look like from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Although we tend to work very early in the mornings and very late into the evenings, we are still human beings, and our job is functioned from within our home, and we don't get to just clock out and leave work. So the best we can ask for is that you do respect those early mornings and late evenings, and let us have our times with our dogs and the boarding dogs, and just stick to communication during those hours. Now, for instance, if there is an emergency or something else, any immediate things in your care that we need to know about, obviously do not hesitate to contact us, but please do that within reason. We do have a holiday price section. We tend to, as a pet care company, get very busy during particular holidays. These holidays include New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, Easter Sunday, Mother's Day, Father's Day. For us here in Indianapolis, that also includes the Indianapolis 500, Memorial Day, and Independence Day, along with Labor Day, Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. And you know, during spring break, we tend to create an influx as well. We don't have a holiday fee for that, but since holidays do tend to bring on a lot of travel, you can expect a $10 fee per service during those holidays. If you do have any questions on any other holidays, you know, for our clients, I would contact us directly and we can, you know, talk those through with you. But due to the high demand during those times, we do also recommend getting those requests in as soon as possible. We tend to book months in advance for these high travel holiday dates. Kyle, you know, we've touched on holidays now. We've touched on communication and updates. Is there anything else that you want to add in there?
Yeah, so I think the main key points, you really kind of touched on them all. The updates, I think that, especially this is something that's probably for newer clients a little bit, probably something a little bit for newer clients, is that I think people kind of, again, think that we're a smaller company. So when people sometimes want to say, hey, you know, how my dog's doing, or they kind of want that running dialogue of what their dogs have been doing throughout the day or what their pets have been doing throughout the day. And unfortunately, you know, with as many clients as we have, if we gave everyone a running dialogue of what they did throughout their day, that's all we will be doing. It will literally take 2 hours to text every single person to let them know how their dogs is doing. So we try to send out an update to show you, you know, how your dog's doing. And you know, we have a really good collection of dogs, and they go on group walks and they have these adventures, and they're able to see other animals and kind of be a part of our family, as they have their own little friendships and socialization they go through. So we want to show you that aspect of things. And really, it's more of a peace of mind thing, that if we are not contacting you, it's a good thing. Your dog's probably having fun. They're having a great time. There's nothing to really stress and worry about. And if there is something that comes up, we have our we would definitely start to reach out then. And you know, really what we want to emphasize on the updates and the communication is that if we contact you during services, it's because we either have a question that went unanswered or there's a situation that is going on. But other than that, you should be getting the updates through a daily basis through your email system. And again, that should give you some of the confidence that your pets are being serviced and that everything is okay with them and that they're having a great time. From there, the holiday pricing is pretty self-explanatory. Again, these are high volume days. Since we do have a lot of clients that we see regularly, typically they do come in and they get their reservations in early, and they let us know that, hey, that this holiday we may need your services. And that's great for us because that lets us know that what we need to plan for. And these are days that, you know, unfortunately we've kind of traded in our lives, but it's the business that we chose. So, you know, this Christmas we had, you know, 11 dogs over and you know, we had to work around that. And Christmas before, we've only had a few select dogs and we celebrate Christmas with them. And, you know, there's absolutely no complaints about that because we do love our clients and this is definitely the life we chose. But, you know, coming that these are, you know, big holidays that people tend to spend around family, and we do have family members that do want to see us and do have events that we have to kind of rearrange around our schedule. schedule. So that's kind of why that charge does exist there. But yeah, those are the kind of the main points that I have for that. And you want to continue going through our general guidelines and policies?
Absolutely. Yeah. You wonderfully said for the holidays, right? It's kind of a trade-off. So we don't mind giving up those holidays, but due to the fact they are very high demand, we do have to make those accommodations early and charge those additional fees. So the next thing that we have on our personal guidelines and policies is our service zone. Urban Uplander Pet Care accommodates a lot of clients again, and since we do have a high demand for services, we tend to charge when having to travel outside of our service zone. This could be to pick up clients for socialization days or boarding. We do tend to travel to downtown Indy, up to Fishers, Westfield, Noblesville, Zionsville. If you're not local to Indianapolis, this probably all sounds like just gibberish. But we do tend to travel further out to pick up boarding and socialization day dogs. However, there is a charge that goes along with that depending on where you are. It's typically a $10 charge, but circumstantial depending on your zone. Our services for dog walks and vacation care is pretty much limited to the Broad Ripple area and the surrounding areas. If you're here in Indianapolis, that looks like Broad Ripple, the Meridian Hills area, Butler, Tarkington, and those surrounding areas. We go as far north as 86th and Keystone, as far east as 46th and Shadeland, and as far south as 46th and Meridian, as far west as 38th and Michigan, and we try to keep everything kind of sprinkled within that service zone. We will look up addresses beforehand to make sure that you are within our service zone. Now, once again, all of our days look a little different. So how far we're willing to travel out is also dependent on how many dogs or cats we have on those particular schedules for those days. So we keep our clients in these particular zones so we can also make sure we're getting everyone accommodated within those timeframes that we spelled out earlier. Not only do we want to make sure that we can fit clients in those time zones, but we need to be able to still give quality care when coming to those visits. So we try to keep everyone right within there. And that also allows us to get to everyone efficiently and effectively through our route in a day. Other than that, on our guidelines and policies, we do have early return, last minute changes policies. We understand that things change and that is not a problem. When it comes to most of our daily visits, such as dog walks, you can cancel all the way up before I or one of my employees pulls into your driveway. Life happens. We totally get it. If you do have a vacation care, boarding, daycare, what have you, and you do cancel ahead of time, we ask you to please be mindful of the fact that we do not return these invoices. Most of our clients are regular, so we just roll these credits right into their next services, but please be mindful of that. Now, when it comes to payments, Urban Uplander does accept cash, checks, credit cards, bank payment transfers, and we do use an online invoicing service where you can pay right on there through the internet. Payments are due before services start. Please make sure that your checks are payable to Urban Uplander Pet Care. When it comes to paying ahead of time, we do want clients to be mindful of the fact that although we do require you to pay before services start, we do understand that accidents happen. People are in a rush to get out of town. Things do get forgotten. We are going to come to your pets. We're going to make sure that they do receive quality care and nothing happens to them over a simple incident. But we do have late charges that will occur depending on how long these payments are late. So once again, payments are considered late if they're not received the day that services start. We will contact you to arrange payment and make sure that nothing happened that we need to be aware of. If payment is not present after we have discussed, some arrangement has to be made within 72 hours. If arrangements are not made during that time, I think that's about 3 days, we will increase your late fee to 25% of what you are receiving for services. So this is all definitely Kyle's field as well. He does the invoicing, he does the payments through our Wave app and all that good stuff. Now that we've talked about service zones, last minute changes, payments, and late payments, can you go ahead and give our clients and our listeners an idea of what maybe I'm forgetting?
Yeah, it's all pretty self-explanatory, and I think this is the kind of the part where there's not like too much rigidness, not too much wiggle room for interpretation. I think this is probably our most straightforward aspect of our guidelines and policies. So when it comes to, last minute changes, early returns, the idea is that, you just keep us in the loop. If something's going on, something unexpected, and I think we probably experienced this more obviously through 2020 because it was a pandemic. So there was a lot going on in which people had to change plans, or a positive test comes up and all of a sudden they're no longer doing what they had planned. But just, let us know. And, it's kind of a sometimes a tricky spot because obviously, there are people who love to pay for things in advance. And, for us, that kind of helps in terms of knowing that, okay, this person's already paid. They clearly do want these services. But we do roll over any services. So if you do pay, that goes towards your next service that you do receive. In some situations, we will be able to refund that. And it's not for us to kind of keep. It's just easier for us to do it that way because obviously if a ton of people pay all at once, and then we have a ton of cancellations, that will leave us kind of in a bind with some of that in terms of getting all those refunded back. So what we like to do is roll it over, and since we do have so many reoccurring clients, it just happens for them, especially when it comes to weekly clients, because it's probably the easiest, because we know that if you're not getting a service this week, we'll be getting it next week, and that works just fine for us. So again, our payment system is very easy. It's just right there. We send you an invoice through our invoicing system. It's really nice. If you would like, if you're a reoccurring or a regular client, we do have a way that you can set it up so you don't ever have to worry about that. So we'll just send you the invoice and we can run your card for you, and we'll just send you the receipt. And that just kind of shows you that you're on the calendar and that everything that you have paid for is already set in stone. For the late payments, most people are really good about letting us know what is going on, and there haven't been too many issues, maybe one over the past 5 years where there has been like someone who just didn't pay for a long time, and that person was just like very forgetful and very busy. So it wasn't even like they were trying to like do anything like that. But for the most part, if payment isn't there for first day, we'll probably reach out just to let you know. And there's plenty of reasons why sometimes people don't pay on time. I don't think anybody's been nefarious and tried to, get over on us or anything. Most times, I have a lost card, or hey, I was running out the door, or hey, I had a last minute switch and you picked my dog up early, so technically day started a little early. But the main point there is that you're just aware that invoices are due prior to services begin. We know some companies do it a little bit differently, but for us, it's just a lot easier to get everything kind of secure beforehand. And again, you can wait till the day you have to pay. And a lot of our clients do that, because that way you don't have to worry about having the credit system. You can just say, hey, when the day comes, you can cash it out, and then we can do all the refund, or don't have to worry about like a refund or anything after that. But yeah, the main thing there, again, just kind of straightforward. And once you get the guidelines and policies, you'll be able to see that, and we'll be able to refer to it, and it will be pretty much clear about what it is that we're saying there.
Awesome. Yeah, once again, Kyle always making wonderful points. When it comes to cancellations, like we said, we're very understanding and do your due diligence to try and let us know as early as possible. Again, since we are a small business and we do have such a high capacity of clients and wait list, the earlier we know about your cancellations, the more beneficial to us, as we can go ahead and reach out to those other clients that may be waiting to see if there are cancellations. So although we are very lenient, we do ask that you do your best to let us know as early as possible if there are going to be changes. Another thing that we do want to add in for our clients, your invoice is your confirmation of reservation. So in order to know that you are on our calendar, you will see your invoice. On there, you can check the description area to ensure that the dates that we have you scheduled for are the correct dates. And this is, once again, is what's going to let you know that you are 100% on our schedule. We do tend to email out our booked dates or our blacked out dates or dates that we have limited services, and to ensure that on any dates that may be blacked out that you have care, refer to your invoice, and that's going to give you the confirmation that although we are booked, you do have a place on our schedule. So again, Kyle, thank you for making those clarifications there. We're going to move on to our next piece of information, which is right to refuse or discontinue services. I think that this is, for a lot of companies, an uncomfortable topic and an unfortunate topic. Nobody wants to have to discontinue services or refuse services, but there are situations in which this does have to happen. Urban Uplander Pet Care, like most pet care companies, is a pets first company. This means that if there are any signs of abuse or neglect, we are going to reach out to you to discuss these situations. Depending on the situation, we may have to take further action, or at the very least, discontinue our services together. Any other reasons or situations for us to refuse services or discontinue could be stuff like completely and repetitively disregarding our guidelines and policies. Again, we have accumulated this long list of guidelines and policies over the years that we've been doing this job, because these are the things that absolutely provide us success within our company. So if you are repetitively disregarding the information that we have set out in front of you, we may have to refuse services. If pets display behavioral issues or aggression, although we are basic obedience dog trainers, we do not dabble in behavior modification such as fear-based aggression, leash reactivity, separation anxiety, or really any other anxiety for dogs. So if your dog is exhibiting severe cases of these things, we may have to discontinue services. This is for our safety and for your dog's safety. We don't want to, like for instance, for anxiety, if your dog is suffering from extreme anxiety and they are not finding comfort within our home or our services, obviously we're going to recommend finding other accommodations, as we want to make sure that not only are we getting to provide our job, but we want your pet to be happy at the end of the day and benefit from the services we're providing them. If there is repetitive late payments, is another reason that we may refuse or discontinue services. This is something that, like Kyle said, does not happen often at all. And when it does happen, there are typically really good, understandable reasons to why. But in general, if we do have clients that are completely just not paying us on time over and over again, this is a reason as to why we could discontinue or refuse services. Another reason could be constantly or, requesting care and not following through with your care. When we put you on the schedule, and when you send us a date, we put you on the schedule, we send out that confirmation of reservation, and you never show up for services. Another reason that we may refuse services to you in the future. We want to keep our spaces in our business open for the people that absolutely are going to utilize them and need them. So another reason we may discontinue or completely refuse services. This should be a no-brainer, but any disrespect or abuse of any nature towards any Urban Uplander employee will not be tolerated. This could be to myself, my husband, or our employee Emmett, and this could look like many different things, verbal arguments, or just being rude and completely not understanding in particular situations. Now, this is to our discretion. And when it comes to any other reason that we may discontinue, those are also to our discretion. Now, obviously, we are very reasonable and understanding. So, it's unfortunate, but sometimes those ties do have to be cut. And these are some of the guidelines we have in place for if that has to happen. And now I think that's everything for our first part of our guidelines and policies, Kyle. So, now that we've talked about these items, is there anything you want to add in?
I think the main points kind of here is that most of these are these are our general guidelines and policies. So these apply to any client of Urban Uplander, whether in-home, whether it's socialization, or whether it's boarding. This is what all our clients kind of go through, and it's to let everyone know that this is the standard that we have for everyone. So everyone gets the same updates. Everyone has to fill out the required paperwork. Everyone works within their service times. Everyone is on the same kind of communication plan. Everyone's within our service zone. Everyone understands our payment and our late payment goals. And as you kind of talked about with the right to refuse to discontinue services, again, we like to have two consultations, a phone consultation and an in-home consultation. And typically during those times, 95% of the time, we're going to be able to know if we can provide services for you or not. And as you kind of talked about, there's things that we can do very well, and there's other aspects where we just don't have the capacity to fulfill those services. And we try to understand those kind of off before we get too far into things, so we never have to get to a point where we have to refuse services. Again, we are a small company. We have 3 of us, so the idea is that most of our clients are part of our family. We see your pets, anywhere from 2 to some of these pets, 20 to 25 times a month. So it's certainly a relationship there that we have cultivated, not only through the client, but with the pets themselves. So our idea is to keep everyone and to have everyone on board and to be able to work with anyone that we possibly can. But ideally, we do have a expectations of our clients, and they have expectations of us. And unfortunately, many people have left us, whether they moved away or whether we moved outside of our service zone, or they just had found other options that may have worked a little bit better for them. And it's never personal with us if someone says, hey, I'm gonna go X route, just as we hope that if we say with a client that we're unfortunately we can't take your take your pet on at this moment, or we can no longer take care of your pet in this capacity, that is not personalized in any way. It's just we know what we can do, and we want to do our business to the best possible way. We would rather give 100 clients A+ quality, best care ever, than to give 300 clients C+ work. So our goal really is to have the best client we possibly can, which again, while we have these guidelines and policies, and to be able to provide the best possible services.
Yeah, wonderful points, Kyle. So like Kyle said, that was our general guidelines and policies. So we're going to move to the in-home guidelines and policies. For anyone who's not familiar with the term in-home, this is our home-to-home service. So this could be a midday dog walk. This could be a vacation care client receiving a morning, midday, evening visit. But essentially, this is when we go to a client's home. We talked about those visit times before, but for this particular service, your visit times are typically going to be AM visits between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m., midday visits between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m., and your evening visit between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. Again, we use these grace periods because dependent on where you are located during the day, and dependent on where that is in correspondence to other care, we're going to make sure we get to everyone just in those time blocks. We do not guarantee any pet specific care at any specific time. Again, in order for us to get to everyone in a timely manner and provide quality care, we go by these blocks. In case of inclement weather, these times may be changed a little bit, but not by much. And no matter what, we are going to come to these visits, as you're probably out of town and you probably need these visits. So that moves us for in-home guidelines to the house cleanliness policy. Urban Uplander Pet Care will clean up any messes created by your pets during our services. Please inform us if there's any designated areas for the appropriate cleaning supplies for your household. Our primary focus is the well-being of your pets. So we're not really concerned about the state of your household. As long as your pets are able to exist within your home safely and comfortably, whether you've been able to clean up your house before heading out of town or anything like that, is not a priority of ours. We just want to make sure that we can get to your pets and provide the best care we can. Additional pet care assistance and other scheduled services clause. Please inform us, Urban Uplander Pet Care, if anyone else has access to your home while you're away. This can include cleaning services, repairmen, friends, family, or neighbors. Be advised that any other persons that are entering or leaving your home, Urban Uplander Pet Care cannot be held reliable for any damages or problems that arise as a result. We also do not accept any liability for any other persons in your home if a pet issue or health issue does come up. Urban Uplander Pet Care does not work in conjunction with other pet care companies. We guarantee the care we provide for our clients, but only when we are the sole responsible people providing that care. So this means if you do have anybody planning on stopping by your home, number one, we want to know for our safety and for their safety. So if we do come to your house and there's an unfamiliar face, we know whether that is the cleaning person you had scheduled or somebody that we maybe need to call the police on. So that is a very important clause. Again, we as a pet care company are going to do the absolute best possible job every time. We want to provide the best care possible when we are in your home. And in order for us to do that, we like to make sure we are solely in charge of that care. So this means not having other pet sitters coming in behind us or before us. And this also lets us know that if there are any issues within the home, who is truly responsible for those issues. Household emergencies may rise up. So for household emergencies, please leave us a name and number of a trusted maintenance company or a person that can tend to these household emergencies if they do come up. We are there for the pets. So unfortunately, if there are plumbing problems, electricity problems, or anything else, those are not responsibilities of ours. So we do need to be able to contact the people that can help with these things. These can include, but are not limited to, leaky pipes, malfunctioning water heaters, heating or air unit issues, or really anything else, just household that may come up. Urban Uplander will attempt to reach out to a client first if any of these situations are happening. If we cannot get a hold of you, then we will immediately use that third-party number you have provided us to seek out the proper response to these situations. So now I guess for Kyle, that was about our visit times, house cleanliness policy, and the additional care assistance clause that we have in here. Do you want to touch a little bit more on those for us?
Sure. So now we're moving into in-home, and these are specific to when we go to individuals' home to take care of them. The visit times, as we kind of talked about, are the way they are to ensure that we can do all the visits that are possible. Again, from any given day, we have between 0 and like 20 to 25 visits on a given day. So when you're looking at time blocks, it's very important that we kind of stick within that time frame. And as you said, not giving a specific time, just because it's almost impossible with our schedule to be able to stick to one individual specific time for one person who may not be in the direction of other individuals that we do see. So again, this is why we do not guarantee specific pet care at a specific time, just simply because with the amount of pups that we do see, amount of pets that we do have to visit on a given day, it's almost impossible to keep up with a singular schedule. Next up with house cleanliness, again, the key points are kind of listed there. Just let us know where cleanliness supplies are. We're there to clean up after your dog's mess. So if you're on vacation care and you had a dog, say, tear something up, we will do our best to, make sure we pick that up, keep anything that's they may pull out, put it back where it was. And if we pull out anything while we're there, put it back to where it belongs as well. Next up, as you kind of talked about, additional pet care assistance and other scheduled services. Again, we understand that people do have people who come through their house and do different jobs for them. I think there's 2 points that I do want to make here. Is one, we offer a lot of services that clients don't think about. So you don't have to call someone to bring your mail in, because we bring your mail in. You don't have to call someone to worry about a package, because we'll put the package in and put it where you need to be. So we really want to emphasize that when you hire us for all your pet care needs or all your house needs, because we can be able to do that for you with the services that we do offer in terms of vacation care. The issue when it comes to other people in the house is always liability. If you or in your house and you come home and a vase is broken, and it's us and an additional pet sitter and your mom who came in and checked the mail and your brother who wanted to see the dogs really badly, all of a sudden we have 4 or 5 people in the house and we don't know what may have exactly happened to the vase. So that's why we kind of often say, let us take care of your pet care needs, or let us take care of your house needs. If you have something very specific or particular to someone else, just let us know in advance so we can also beat out of their way. Because, if we're walking into the house as strangers to someone you may know who is a friend, well, what does that look like to them? Especially if they're not familiar with us and they're not familiar with our company. We're literally just walking into their house being unfamiliar. So keeping that in mind, just be aware that, again, we work in conjunction with ourselves, and if anyone else is going to be in the house, please let us know. And then household emergencies, we get a lot of information from clients. So we get their emergency contact, we get their spouse or nearest neighbor's numbers. We want to be prepared for all situations, and sometimes there's things that happen in the house. But the furnaces break or heat stops working. So we want to be able to fix that without the client having to come home. And if a client goes somewhere where they don't have cell phone coverage or they may be unavailable to talk all the time, we want to be able to kind of be proactive in helping them fix any issues that they may have. So again, giving us that information, letting us know who to speak to just in case of this situation helps us do a better job. And again, it gives you that peace of mind to know that, okay, if I'm not going to be talking for 8 hours and my pet sitter is going to my house 2 or 3 times, I know they can handle X emergency or Y emergency or Z emergency because they have all this access to this information that I gave them.
Absolutely. And like you said, when it comes to just letting us know if people are there, as pet care providers having to pull dogs out and, muddy paws and everything else, we don't want to be in your cleaning person's way with dogs. So once again, we're not saying that these people can't be in your home. We just need to know ahead of time so we can better plan our day and understand what we are going to be liable for while we're there. Kyle made a wonderful point about putting stuff away as well. We're not just going to clean up after your pets. We want it to look like nobody was there, right? So anything we utilize in the day should be put back exactly where we found it. And you can be able to come home and know that your pets were taken care of. But there really not be any inkling that somebody was actually within your home. So thank you, Kyle, for touching on those points real quick. So for pet emergencies, if pets become ill or there are any emergency situations that come up, we're going to make sure that we use our best judgment as pet care professionals. We always have clients give us authorization pet care forms, which allow us to be able to take care of these situations if we need to. So once again, we're going to use our best judgment. And first thing we're going to do in an emergency situation is reach out to you so we can make a plan of action together. After we try to reach out to you, we are then again going to use our best judgment to get your dog the medical or pet, the medical care needed. We will also try to use your specified pet care providers, but in a true emergency, especially if we cannot get a hold of you, we are going to get your pet to the nearest open emergency clinic in the area. Other than that, we have our access to home and key retention policy. Urban Uplander Pet Care requires permission to access any home for services that are required within a home. Urban Uplander Pet Care requires an appropriate form of entry, whatever the client prefers. This could be a spare key, a garage code, or a door code, but it does need to be reliable so we can get to your pets. We do not recommend leaving keys on premises, and we will personally not leave any keys on premises after or before caring for an animal. This is for your home safety and your pet safety. Now, I think that is like majority of our in-home guidelines and policies. For pet care emergencies and key retention, Kyle, can you break those down a little bit further for us?
Sure. So again, with the pet emergencies, your pet's a living being. Things can and happen at times, but the idea really is to be prepared. So again, it comes back to the forms that you fill out, letting us know who your vet is, who to contact in case of emergency situations. Having those numbers in place allows us to kind of have a plan. So just in case there is a situation that arises, we can go to action without having to contact you. Again, we do have clients who we see who live in town, so a lot of times it's easier to contact, but people do go on vacations a lot. We do have people who go away who are not going to be readily available. So our idea really is to be able to have the information that we need to act appropriately in these situations. And then to access the home and the key retention, the idea really is that we're coming home to home, and we don't want to have to do leave the door unlocked or leave the key underneath in the mailbox or anything like that, because obviously that causes liability issues. So getting that copy of that key or having access to inside the home while you're gone helps us, again, secure your home when we do leave it, and also secure the pet's safety and your home safety. So it's really about being safe. As we see with the in-home guidelines and policies, everything kind of circles back around to ensuring that we have the information that we need to take care of your pets, as well as having the clients understand how we kind of operate and what to expect from us when we do come to your house. So yeah, I think you did a great job covering all the main points, and we can move on to boarding and socialization days.
Awesome. So socialization days, as we mentioned before, is our form of daycare. We do not provide daycare like a normal facility would, where we just let dogs run amok all day and just end up overstimulated, overexhausted, and, which leaves room for injuries and just, it's not the best training situation. So our socialization days are limited to our training clients and our longtime clients. And then our boarding, we do open to majority of the Broad Ripple population, as long as after their consultation, we do agree that they are proper temperament for our household, since our business is within our home. So the policies that fall under socialization days and boarding, number one, we circle back to transportation, pickup, and drop-off times. Urban Uplander Pet Care does provide the transportation for boarding and socialization days. I, Melinda Benbow, provide that transportation. If for some reason I am out of town or unavailable for pickup and drop off, we do make other arrangements for our clients that will be affected by this. You will know well in advance if you are a client that is affected by this. And that will also mean that the staff member who will be stepping in for me and watching the dogs will contact you ahead of time to coordinate the best possible pickup and drop off times. And that's once again to their discretion. We want to make sure that not only are you able to get your dogs to us, but we want to make sure that with this, the schedule we leave behind for our pet sitters is still attainable and flows best for them and for the pets. We do our pickup and drop-offs between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. And I'm sorry, that's for the pickup. For our drop-offs, we provide those between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. The order in which we pick up the dogs, again, is dependent on the proximity of each dog on our pickup list. We're going to go in an order, so we're either traveling all the way out and circling back in, or picking up all the dogs on the way and then traveling back home. So that is the order in which we pick up dogs. Providing the transportation is a standard part of our service. There is no price that will be deducted if a client wants to do it on their own. And again, we prefer to be able to provide this courtesy to our clients, not only for boarding people who may be traveling. This allows you to get on the road or get to the airport in time, but it also allows us to, again, stick to our pretty demanding schedule within a day. For boarding and socialization days, we still require home access. We need to have permission to enter your home, and we need a reliable form of entry for this service as well, since we do pick up the dogs. We need to be able to conduct these pickup and drop-offs during the specified times without having to worry about if a client is still home or needs to get on the road. This allows us to enter your home, get your dog, or bring your dog back home, get them situated and waiting for your arrival. So we do require that home access information. Kyle, so those are two pretty big areas on here, especially for our boarding and daycare dogs. Do you want to touch a little bit more on, I know we've talked about pickup and drop off time a lot and how important that is, but can you also touch on the home access as well?
Yes. So the first one, obviously, we've probably talked about that in every category so far, in general and in-home. But it's important to just people really understand that we operate under a schedule, and as we kind of being under the schedule, it helps us that we work within these time blocks. And as people are kind of finding out now, and people are understanding that I am in Auburn, Alabama, and my wife comes visit myself, as well as she has many of her own events that she goes to, whether it's with Shug or whether it's with the future with Jasper, that you will be out of town. So we definitely want to keep boarding open for clients there. And that's where we kind of talk about with the dropping off and the picking up. And that's when you'll be working with our third employee, Emmett, to kind of to coordinate those pickup times and those drop-off times. And again, that's all talked about here in the guidelines and policies. The second point, the home access point, is actually pretty relatively new because we never had this on a guidelines and policies before. And I think that this was kind of a misunderstanding with some of our newer clients. But in order for us to pick up your dog and drop off in our timely manner, we do need home access. And I think a lot of people think that, I'll just wait until you come pick up my dog. And then they start asking like, hey, can you pick up my dog at this time? I have to leave by this time. And this is exactly why we need home access, because being able to kind of go within our day is going to help us a lot more, rather than having to play this, game of, okay, when do you get back from the airport? Or, hey, when do you get back in town? Because obviously that brings up a lot of variables that we can't control. And then next thing you know, we're kind of left in the proverbial wind, waiting on things we can't control. And we don't have time, energy, and effort to get to the other things that we have to get to. So having home access helps us stay on time, and obviously working within our time blocks helps us stay on time when it comes to our other people that we service as well. So two really big important points. I think those are It's great as number one and number two. Obviously, every point is just as important as the last, but those two really kind of stand out to let, especially with newer clients who are not used to having a service in which boarding comes with pickup and drop off. Being able to have that home access and being able to work within our time block works best for us and our clients as well, because it gives them that peace of mind that we are coming, we're getting your dog, we're doing all that, taking care of that for you, so you can focus on what it is that you have to do while you're either leaving town or whatever the reason is that you're looking for boarding.
Yeah, wonderful. Another thing about the home access is when it comes to the keys that we acquire from our clients, we ensure that we are labeling them and keeping them in our key safe here at Urban Uplander. The labeling that we do with these keys is a system that is very discreet and specific to our company. So if for any reason these keys became lost or something happened to them, they can't be used on the homes that they are intended for. So just another note to touch on for that home access. Now, when it comes to our next part, we have health and vaccination policy. For Urban Uplander, we require boarding and socialization dogs to be updated on it's going to include the rabies, leptospirosis, distemper, canine parvo, and bordetella. These are very important vaccinations to have within a daycare setting, and universally, almost every daycare boarding facility is going to require these vaccinations from you. We do also require a fecal exam free of parasites from at least 6 months prior to your stay. Now, if your dog has been experiencing any kind of irregular stool, we are going to want to know about that, and we may also recommend doing another fecal exam before your dog comes over. This is to limit any parasites being transferred within our home and business. With that, there are, on very rare cases, vaccinations that aren't recommended to particular dogs. If for some reason this is your dog, we need to know beforehand, and we also need to personally speak with your vet about their recommendation against this vaccination and why they recommended against it. So aside from that, if a pet does become ill or exhibits irregular stool within our home and company, they will be separated from the rest of the dogs, and we will contact you directly about these symptoms and the situation. For socialization days, these dogs may be sent home, especially if they're just here to hang out with their friends during the day and you're not out of town or something like that. We may also require them to have a clear bill of health from their veterinarian before they return back to socialization days. Boarding dogs may be quarantined here while you're out of town, or we may provide them in-home care within your home, dependent on the severity and the situation behind their symptoms. We will seek vet care after consulting each client about each situation, and especially if this is an extreme situation. Symptoms of illness that we may contact you about can include but aren't limited to irregular stool, repeated vomiting, gagging, sneezing, coughing, refusal to eat over 24 hours, excessive thirst or urination, red or swollen gums, difficulty urinating, difficulty defecating. So this could be straining while trying to use the restroom, runny eyes or nose, itching or flaky skin, general lethargy, tiredness, or just looking unwell. We're also going to inform you of any cuts, lacerations, or abrasions that your pet may be experiencing. If your dog is experiencing any of these symptoms before we pick them up or before they come over, let us know immediately. We may have to have your dog stay home or make different arrangements for their care while you're away. This doesn't mean we can't take care of your dog, but it does mean that we don't want to risk our dogs that live within our home or the other dogs that are staying within our home. So along with that, our emergency policy, if pets do become ill while in our care, as we mentioned, we're going to use our best judgment as pet care professionals. First thing we're going to do is try and contact you and get your dog to the veterinarian that you have selected on your pet care form. If this is a true emergency and we cannot contact you, again, we're going to use our best judgment. We are going to try to seek the nearest open emergency clinic, dependent the situation. The client may further agree for us to do other things dependent on the situation. But again, we do expect 100% reimbursement for any fees that may occur for these situations. So before we move on to the last thing that we have notated here for this service, do you want to touch more on, sick dogs, any signs of illness, or these emergency situations?
I want to say, so when it comes to, dog sickness is something that we take very, very seriously. And we want to be able to I want to be able to contain any potential contagion. Why are all dogs vaccinated? To help contain contagion. That's really the big key there. So making sure that everyone is caught up, making sure that everyone has all their shots is absolutely imperative for us. So not only do any of our own dogs get sick, but none of the pets that we watch also have to deal with any potential sickness. And that's why we kind of list there on the guidelines and policies some of the main symptoms of potential diseases that can be spread, because we also want clients to be aware of this with their own pups. So, before they kind of come to school, they have a list of what to potentially be looking for. And we're hoping this also is just something that they're looking for in general, because most of these are going to be kind of obvious to a pet owner. If your dog's not eating within 24 hours, I don't think sending it to daycare or boarding facility is going to be the ideal situation for any parties involved in those situations. And the same thing with the emergency care. Giving us all the information you potentially can helps us in our job, because we know what to do in those situations. And again, if your dog's over for daycare or your dog's over for socialization, you're most likely maybe at work or doing something in which you're unavailable. And if your dog's over for boarding, you may not even be in town. So again, having all the information that we need to take care of your pet, knowing where to go or who to contact, is what helps us out. And then having some of their medical history, so like we can know that this person is vaccinated or this person last vaccination was X date. We can give that information to the veterinarian just in case they may not have your records. So again, just ensuring your dog's safety by having you tell us your dog is fully vaccinated and protected against certain diseases, and then also having that two-way communication, whether it's between us or the client towards us, about what potential symptoms your dog may be showing. And that way we'll know how to respond correctly, and we'll also know what we can do in terms of those situations in helping provide care and ensuring that that the dog is taken care of correctly.
Perfect. Like I said, our main focus is healthy, happy dogs. We want to make sure that all the dogs here remain healthy and happy. And if anything happens to any dogs, we can get them back to being healthy and happy. So the last thing that we have on the socialization and boarding guidelines and policies is the notice for services. Again, due to high demand and limited capacity, we recommend getting your requests in for boarding at least 7 days before your services start. This ensures that we can try to provide the correct accommodations for any guests during that duration. We do not accept reservations without at least 7 days notice. We do tend to book up more than 7 days in advance. So 7 days is the bare minimum, but if you do have dates, we say get them in on the text line as soon as possible, and we will get you put in. I think it is almost January 1st. We are recording these episodes ahead of time, and we do already have requests well into June of this year. So the earlier you can get those dates in, especially for those high capacity times like holidays or fall break, spring break, those things that coincide with a lot of travel, the more accommodating we can try to be. So other than that, we do have our supply fee. If clients come and aren't prepared for services, maybe you don't send enough food, don't send enough medication, or anything else that your pet will absolutely need while they're here, we will go get those things for them, but there will be a $16 charge on top of the fees that have been incurred trying to get them what they need. So that concludes all of our stuff for the socialization days and boarding services. Kyle, was there anything else you wanted to notate there? I know you hit a lot of points a moment ago.
I think we did a great job here. And again, this is our boarding and socialization part. The notice for services, especially when it comes to boarding, we'll always say the earlier the better. You can never be too early if you have any request. So if you have something, next Christmas, you want to go to Aruba, let us know now, and we can at least put you down on the schedule. And that helps us with our job, and that helps us to let you know what it is that you want. Let us know what it is that we have to expect. And I think we even saw this year, even with Christmas, some people didn't really make those decisions until late. And unfortunately, there were a few people that we had turned down just because we were fully booked. And I think a lot of new people who've never used our services before certainly are guilty of, hey, it's 2 days before Christmas. Do you have any room? Unfortunately, we've booked back on like December 2nd. So the good idea is just to, be early, be on time, give us that information now. Again, we can always change dates, but even if you have preliminary dates in the future, go ahead and just ask for that request, and then we could be more manipulative as the time kind of gets closer towards it. And then again, just being aware of bringing everything with your dog. We don't mind having to go out and grab other things, but ideally, again, when we have anywhere between 5 and 15 dogs staying the night, having to get off to go on multiple trips would not be very efficient for us. So just being able to be aware that if you do forget something, there is a small fee if we have to go get it for you. So just being conscious of that as you pack your dog up. And I think the last few sections talks about our requirements for boarding and what to bring for boarding. So we can just go over those, and I think that'll kind of wrap it up for us.
Yeah, thank you again. So perfect points. So the requirements for socialization days and boarding. Now, through those guidelines and policies, we did touch on some of these, but the full breakdown is before services start, we need to do a consultation. We first start with an over-the-phone consultation to talk through what you're looking for with services, but we do also require that we come to your home to assess your dog's social skills and temperament. Again, we are a small business, and this business is run from within our home. So we do tend to be selective to ensure that your dog is going to thrive within our environment, be able to be sociable with the other dogs that are here, and also keep our personal dogs safe at the same time. We also require the vaccinations being Bordetella, which is your kennel cough prevention, distemper, parvo, and rabies. We do also require that leptospirosis. Some vets do the 3-in-1, 4-in-1, or 5-in-1 packages, but those are the actual vaccinations we're going to need in order for your dog to stay here. Again, in very rare cases, vets may recommend against these for particular dogs. If that is the case for your dog, we will need to talk to your vet beforehand to understand why and if we are going to be able to take your dog on as a client. Your dog does not have to be spayed or neutered to participate in boarding or socialization days. Your dog will always be under constant supervision, so there's no worry of any dogs tying together and having any unwanted litters under our supervision. If your female dog is in her heat cycle, for socialization days, we will recommend and require your dog to stay home. If these cycles do happen while within our care, we will make the proper accommodations to ensure that no other male dogs or female dogs bother your in-cycle female. Your dog must be on a flea and heartworm preventative and control. We do this from our home again, and we are a flea-free certified zone. So this is to once again keep our pets healthy, our visiting pets healthy, and us healthy as well. Dogs must be at least 12 weeks old in order to be in play groups. Dogs are not typically completely vaccinated until about 16 weeks, depending on where you get your dog from. We do want to do socialization between that 8 and 16 week time frame. So as long as your dog does have its first couple rounds and has enough antigens to carry through into completed vaccination cycle, we will allow them to start socializing with other dogs, as it's very important to do during that time. But your dog has to be at least 12 weeks to do so. Dogs must wear flat collars and ID tags with current contact information. When they are in play groups, we do try our best to make sure they are not wearing their collars to prevent any type of incidents or situations with those collars. But while they're outside, we do have their collars on in case of emergency situations. And having updated tags on those collars is going to be very important if something does happen. And for instance, your dog gets away and somebody finds them. We do need to have that information to get them safely back to you. We have not had that happen yet. And unfortunately, we're going to keep trying to not let that happen. But in case of emergency, definitely have current ID tags on your dog. If you need to cancel it for any reason, any reservation, again, let us know immediately. We are very accommodating, but we do have a wait list that we can pull from. So if you cannot take on a spot, we do have a few other clients that may want those. So the earlier you let us know, the better. So what to provide your dog for boarding services? We need enough food for every day plus a couple days. The extra food is just in case anything happens within your schedule and your dog maybe needs to stay longer, or maybe one of their furry friends ends up eating a couple of their servings. We have that extra food to use. We need your dog's leash and walking device. This may include a harness, an easy walk harness, a gentle leader, a halty, but we do not use martingale collars, prong collars, choke collars, e-collars, or any kind of adversive training tools such as those. If your dog does walk on these, that is not a problem, but we will use an easy walk harness that we keep on hand for while your dog is staying with us. You're going to want to send treats, especially if your dog is on a bland diet or a sensitive stomach diet. Urban Uplander does keep healthy, nutritious treats with very simplified ingredient lists that we can pretty much ensure don't stir up any allergies or digestive issues within our clients. But if your dog is on a medicated food formula, you are going to want to send rewards that correspond to that food diet. Other than that, we ask that you please refrain from sending bones, rawhides, or milk bones. These items tend to create hazards in a lot of dogs and can create some digestive issues. And when it comes to milk bones, we kind of imagine that as sending like Twinkies with your kid to daycare. We do have some better things on hand that aren't linked to as many cancerous issues. I got a cat on my keyboard. 1 second. So other than treats, we do want to make sure you're sending all the medications that your dog needs. This could be something that is completely prescribed by your veterinarian or something supplemental such as a fish oil or any, joint supplements, skin and hair supplements, stuff like that. Send enough for the whole visit. And also, again, ensure that you go on to that link that we sent you for your contact form and fill out the proper dosage and information for us to give those to your pets the proper way. So aside from that, that is our full breakdown of our guidelines and policies. Now, again, just to do a rundown, if you are a client, these are in place to ensure that we can provide the best quality for your pets when they're in our care. If you are a pet care provider looking to build guidelines and policies, these for us have been curated over years of doing this job. Every year we sit down and we reassess and we keep rebuilding. For us, these work wonderful. Depending on your pet care company, you may want to add or remove particular things. But for us, these guidelines and policies, again, covered our in-home care services, our boarding and socialization days services. And the breakdown is we want clients to know what time we're going to come. We want them to know how to request care, what paperwork needs to be filled out, how we update them in a day, the best way to communicate with us, the holidays that we receive high capacity and that we charge additional for, what our service zone looks like, which also corresponds to how we execute these visits within a day, any last minute changes, how to do payment, and why we may refuse services. For our guidelines and policies for in-home, covers a lot of the same things, plus that house cleanliness policy. It talks about other people being within your household emergencies, pet emergencies, and how we access the home. And for our socialization days and boarding, again, we're talking about that pickup and drop-off time, how we're going to access your home, health and vaccination policies, situations in which your pet may be sent home for illnesses, or situations in which we may have to go to an emergency vet. And that also goes into our emergency policy and our notice for services, what to provide your dog when they come, and the requirements in order for them to come for those socialization and boarding days. So we hope, if you're one of our clients, that this breakdown explain a little bit further why these situations are in place, and how we came to really put them in place and how useful they are for us and for our clients. And again, if you're looking to build a guideline and policies of your own for your business, I hope this is a wonderful place to start. And if you have any further questions on it, you can always email us, message us, leave a comment in the area. Thank you again for tuning in. Kyle, you're always a wonderful special guest. Thank you for joining us today, and keep a lookout for our
Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode of the Urban Uplander Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please give us a like and subscribe. Don't forget to follow Urban Uplander Pet Care on Instagram and Facebook for more pet care and upland hunting content.